You know there's medical science out now that like alcohol is as good of a painkiller as painkillers? Hello! I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Tonight on the show, I'm going to teach you how to make beef stroganoff. Also known as Beef Stroga David Hasselhoff. This is a classic American-ish, home cooking-ish. Somebody's mom made it, not my mom.
It's Russian. It's
Russian? Well, yeah, because of the stroganoff. This recipe was requested by the following requesters: Griffin, Axel Action, Bratwurst OP, and Polly Hauser, a mod of the subreddit of Drunken Cookery. But they requested it like 2 years ago. This is a comfort dish, and most likely all the versions you've had, I'm just imagining that you've had some shitty version of this at some point, maybe in a microwave dinner. You might have had this in a hamburger helper that your mom made, and you were like, dang it, Mom! As such, this dish does not have a good reputation. Compared to Plukfisk, which we made, the Norwegian dish, also not a good reputation. I also thought it would be nice to use whole mushrooms and cut them. I'm not feeling my best today because the pre-sliced mushrooms are like thicker than I like mushrooms to be. But I need a ½ pound of mushrooms, and that is a load of mushrooms to cut. So I'm gonna spend most of this episode slicing mushrooms and hopefully not removing any fingers. I like my mushrooms to be like pretty thin. So you see them, they're like only a couple of millimeters wide, and really that's like the max I like them even thinner. I like to slice them thin because when you fry them they crisp up better. I don't really like meaty mushrooms, so to speak. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but like having just like a big hunk of mushroom, it doesn't really appeal to me. So when you slice them thin and then fry them, they just kind of become crispy, dank mushroom wafers. I'm not thinking straight. So yeah, but actually doing a ½ pound this thin, I've cut like 5 mushrooms and I already have like just a load. Here in a second you'll see the result of all those chops. We'll be right, just hold on. Well, here they are. That's a ½ pound of mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, don't make this dish. The end. Oh, in case you're wondering why I'm drinking tonight, I'm having a classic Phil cocktail. Only the classiest of ingredients. Big K Diet Citrus Drop Extreme mixed together with Seagram's Extra Dry Gin. And I put it on ice. Just in case you were wondering. Now, so people ask me why I use these cutting board covers, and you can see I just took the mushrooms and just like threw them over there because I got more things to cut. This is why I use them. One of many reasons. They're a useful item. I think that a lot of people get really hung up on the fact that these have a utilitarian purpose and they're not just some dumb plastic that you put on your cutting board. It protect, it transport, but it also looks nice. Nice meme, me. I got this big ass onion. Did you know, there's a scientific fact that all of the letters of onion can be found in the phrase, alcohol is a suitable painkiller. Anyway, well, I didn't actually do the math, but you know, thinking in terms of alphabetical math, the probability that all the letters are in there is pretty high. This is a sweet onion. Depending on the volume, I might use more, but this is a giant onion. But if you peel the outer layer, it becomes considerably less in size. Thin slices. I think 1 onion is going to be just fine for our porpoises. Oh shit, I think Kevin or Isabel is here. Which means that I need to say what I'm about to say immediately, because they don't need the context for this. Did you know that all of the letters of the word onion can be found in the phrase, oh no, oh no! Oh look, I can just take this and leave my cutting board where it was. Wow! You need to make a beef broth or just buy a beef broth, but if you're cheap, you just get a stock paste and then you make it. It's better than bouillon! Kevin's at the door. Beef shits. Put an amount of water on your beef shits. That seems like a fine amount. And heat it up. Alright. Contrary to the most cooking in the world, we're gonna cook our onions and garlic before we cook the beef, rather than cooking the beef and then cooking the other things in the beef juice. And that's because Betty Crocker told me to. Use a lot of butter. We'll start with a couple tablespoons. You also need a clove of garlic. Smash! And choppy, and then choppy some more, and then you put it with the onion until another time. Alright, while that butter's melting, we could chop a beef. In the tradition of mom dishes, the recipe called for sirloin steaks, but I choose to substitute a cheaper, shittier cut that was on discount, because that's what your mom would do, and I sure as hell know that's what my mom would do. Actually, in reality, my mom just wouldn't buy the beef. She would be like, I'm substituting chicken. That's how my mom talks. I need to get new ones of these. I'm just chopping beef here. You're supposed to put these into strips, but I think cubes sounds better because that's what I'm chopping. I also am suspicious whether everything's gonna fit in the pot. Get them onions onioning. And then mushrooms mushrooming. And the pot's full. I'm salting the food. That's it, that's all I did. More butter, 2 more tablespoons. Mushrooms and onions cooked for a bit, and the garlic, like 10-15 minutes, I don't know. But they look pretty cooked, so we're gonna pull them out of the pan. Don't worry about that shit burned on the bottom, we'll deal with it later. Pull them out, get most of them, and in the same pot, add the rest of that stick of butter, and we're gonna cook the beef. This beef, not any other beef. Alright, here we go. Better to do it in batches, but your mom wouldn't, so. Something that did not get captured is I put a water pot on the heat stove, and that's for our noodles. We're gonna start cooking this beef here. Beef. Maybe salt and pepper it. We're just gonna try to brown it a little bit, and then we're gonna add other things, and then we're gonna, finish the recipe. I mean, that's how you cook, right? You start with some things, you add some more things, then you're done. Alright, now that our beef is mostly brown, we'll add some stock, about a cup. Yeah, cool. And a liberal, whatever you want to call it, Worcestershire sauce. That makes beef taste like more beef, did you know? I'm just gonna throw this stuff back in anyways, because I think it will benefit from cooking down further. So far it kind of looks like we've made a giant pot of garbage, but I've never steered clear of garbage in my life. And we need to let this simmer for probably 15 minutes or so, covered. And hopefully that'll make the beef more tender. But it is cheap beef, so I wouldn't hold your breath. Now that our pot of water is boiling, we can add our egg noodles. You really don't need as many as I'm cooking, but I got this problem where like every time I cook egg noodles and I don't cook the whole package, the rest of it just sits there. Ow. Alright, well that was the action. We will be back in a time. Pinched my finger.
Phil, what happened?
I drained the pasta while John was criticizing my writing abilities. I am a script writer for commercials. I learned about it in business school. Using a 1/4 cup measurement tool, measure out a 1/4 cup of flour and then throw it in this 1/2 cup of broth that you measured out. Some scenes not pictured. Using 1/2 of a pair of chopsticks, incorporate. You could use a full pair if you wanted to. Pour this into your stroganoff. Oh boy! This will thicken it up like a mama. That joke never gets old. Right now it's kind of looking like a dank pile of beef. Yeah, baby. Alright, now we need 1.5 cups of sour cream. That's most of this cup, so we're just gonna do one of these. Oh, what have I done? You can already see it's thickened up a little bit from that flour, which is good. Now we're gonna make it creamy. This is how you know it's a Russian dish. There's just a f***load of sour cream in it. Once you add the sour cream, you do not want it to return to a boil because then the cream will curdle, and that will be unfortunate. Yeah, don't boil milk. You'll regret it. If it's not creamy enough, you can add more, but that looks pretty good to me. Alrighty. And it needs a second to heat up, but not boil, and then we can eat it. So we'll start with some egg noodles. How wholesome and full of egg. Followed by some stroganoff. Stroganoff. We may have it. Let's try the stroganoff. It's good! The beef could be more tender, but it's not. Well, it tastes like beef that is creamy and Worcestershire saucy. That's all the flavors in this dish. You could cook it longer, like when it's simmering, simmer it longer, it'll tender up. Or you could use a nicer piece of beef. But yeah, I think this is pretty good. Certified. Well, toodaloo.
Well, toodaloo.